So I'm Jake. I work as an infection control nurse in the Trust, and I'm being interviewed today because I'm part of the diversity network. I am a gay man and I have ADHD. Since I joined the Trust last September, I've always felt really welcomed. My team are very encompassing of my identity. There was never any difference. It was always happy talking about any dates I might have been on or anything. There's no difference to talking with my colleagues who are heterosexual about the experiences that we might have had or relationships and things. As a member of the LGBT community, there are many places where I can feel othered, even by simple facts of conversation, language that people use. And so to have been in a workplace where actually there was never even a batted eyelid at the fact that I was, talking about going on dates with men, was really lovely. I have friends who work in other organisations, some within other NHS organisations, who find that while there aren't instances of outward homophobia or transphobia, sometimes the language that people use, or not necessarily on purpose, might just come across as actually being quite offensive and make people feel unsafe. Being aware of some of the issues that people in the LGBT community can face can really help. Certainly make sure that you are on friendly terms with that individual, and it is not their responsibility to explain everything to you. I think that's something that can often land on people in the LGBT community, as they then become explainers and spokespeople for the whole community. I'm very happy to answer questions. I've spent time with activism, and certainly at university I was involved in the LGBT Council, so I'm very happy to answer questions. I'm very happy to be open and forthright. But I think it will really depend on the individual as to whether they are happy to discuss those details. And I think that would probably be something to ask them, as if it's in a situation where that information is needed to be known, certainly by a manager or something, then I would check with that individual what they're happy to discuss before it's discussed. For me, the Diversity Network is a way of connecting with other people who are, LGBT, neurodiverse, from different ethnic backgrounds, and it's a peer support network for me that also can help them through their awareness weeks of bringing light to various issues that people might face. Just because a colleague of yours might be part of a different community to yours, that doesn't mean they're that different to you, and excluding them on that, or making them in your mind as a different is something to avoid. There's this big stink in the media, particularly sometimes, that it's the LGBT community, it's these group of people that are different, and actually we're not different. The reason we campaign and that we stand up is to say we want the same rights as everybody else. We're no different from anybody else. It's just our gender identity or our sexuality that is not part of what people perceive as being the normal, but there is no such thing as a normal. We're all part of the spectrum.